What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another Mark III Toyota Supra revival video. If you guys haven't seen any of the videos that we've done previously, we've done a lot to this car. We purchased it about 6 months ago, brought it into the shop just last week. We didn't know a whole lot about it. It wasn't running, it wasn't driving, nothing was working. Pulled it in, we did a compression test, we fixed a fuel leak, we wired up some stuff in the engine bay, and we got it running. Shortly after that, we went ahead and put it on the dyno, tuned it up a little bit, made about 420 horsepower on the current setup. But there is a lot of other issues with this car and a lot of things that we want to upgrade. So in this video, we're gonna be doing just that. So one of the first things that we had to do with this car was actually replace the radiator. The previous radiator was broken along the bottom seams and was completely leaking, so we went ahead and replaced it with a nice aluminum one and some electric fans. We wanted to get it driving just to make sure that everything was working and everything was good. But as you can tell, there's some things that are not quite up to par. First thing that I noticed is this intercooler pipe right here, which it's honestly not bad. Like, it works, it's functional, but with what we're going for with the look of this car, we definitely want to clean up the engine bay, clean up that piping, possibly relocate the battery. So we're definitely going to address that in this video. The next thing is this turbo setup right here. So this is an aftermarket, kind of a knockoff GT3582R. It has a T3 exhaust housing, and this tubular manifold is definitely an older style. It has a really old style square wastegate with some fins on it. The downpipe isn't the best. As you can see, there's like one O2 sensor bung right there, another one right here, and another one on the top, as well as everything's just not super clean. It's definitely one of those things where it's functional, but it's not super clean. We have some extra ports right here on the intake. Down here below, you could see oil drain line, the coolant feed lines, all of that stuff, even right there, all of that just needs cleaned up until it's up to par. Now, we had already got this thing running on the Wiring Specialties engine harness. We tuned it a little bit on the ECU master, but I want to go ahead and show you a lot of the other parts and stuff right here on the table that we're going to use to spice this thing up. So to fix a lot of our problems, we have pretty much everything here on the table to do that. And one of the first things we're going to be doing is this RTech turbo manifold. This thing is a really cool design. You can see it is a divided manifold, and it is divided all the way until the single wastegate port right there, which is a really cool feature. We have a Garrett G30-900 turbo, which is going to spool up a lot faster and should make about the same power, if not a little bit more power, than that knockoff 3582 that is currently on there. Now, going with the turbo manifold, we have a Turbosmart wastegate and a Turbosmart blow-off valve. On this car, I am going to be doing a 3.5-inch downpipe. So right off of the turbo, we have a 3-inch V-band. So we're going to do 3-inch V-band to a 3 to 3.5-inch exhaust expander, all the way to a 3.5-inch downpipe that we're gonna run to probably about halfway down the car. Then we will switch to a 3-inch exhaust, which will continue to go out the back, and I have that in the box right here. So also, we have a couple vibrant parts right here, and I'm excited to try these pre-cut pie cuts. So in the past, I've always kind of made my own pie cuts, and it just takes a really long time. So we have these right here from Vibrant. So this will get us like a 90 degree, a 45 degree, a 30 degree, just all kinds of stuff without having to do a bunch of labor intensive work on, the chop saw and the grinder. So in the last video, we actually installed the BC Racing coilovers and a set of these Koenig Ultragram wheels. We currently have the wheels off of the car because we are getting ready to dive right into this build and do a bunch of other stuff. A couple other things we did previously, or this car already had. It had a Wiring Specialties Pro engine harness, which is really nice, which is mated up with an ECU Master EMU Black. If you look around the engine bay, there's a couple things that stand off. I don't like the blue couplers. They just don't go with it. So we got a set of black silicone radiator hoses. We're gonna go ahead and stick in there as well. All right, so one of the next things about this car that has been bothering me since the moment that we got it is this steering wheel right here. I mean, if you think about it, when you're in a car, the things that you touch the most are the seats and the steering wheel. Nobody wants to be looking at that thing while they're cruising down their road in their freaking sick Mark III Toyota Supra. Check this out. So we have a NRG steering wheel, which this thing is really cool. It's one of their reinforced steering wheels, so it is super thick, strong, and it feels really nice in your hand. And look at that. That's gonna be way better. One of the other things that we went ahead and addressed in the meantime is we pulled the complete interior out of here, pressure washed the seats, pressure washed the carpet, and reassembled everything. So these seats actually cleaned up really, really nice. And initially I was gonna put a set of aftermarket seats, but I feel like, you know, kind of keeping the retro vibes of this car is really cool. And they match the interior. They're really freaking comfortable. So kind of a cool deal. So we're gonna go ahead and leave the seats, but spice up the interior in a couple other ways. So when we had this thing on the dyno, it made about 420 horsepower, but the limiting factor was our fuel injectors. So we went ahead and got a top feed fuel rail conversion from Deechworks right here. Not many companies make a top feed rail for the 1J, but Deechworks actually did recently, and it is a really nice piece. And we have a set of 750cc injectors, so we should be able to get like over 550, maybe 600 wheel on E85 with those injectors right there, which I am really stoked about. Since we're gonna be doing so many performance parts, we want to make this thing look as good as it runs. Obviously in the engine bay, we have a lot of factory wiring. We have a lot of stuff that is just kind of dirty. We also would like to clean up the engine itself, clean up the subframes in this thing, pressure wash a lot of stuff, and make this thing just really nice. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is start off by just dropping the engine and transmission out of here, cleaning up the engine bay. That'll make installing a lot of these aftermarket parts a lot easier because we'll be doing it right there on the ground. We could put the harness really nice, do the injectors really nice, get the turbo manifold on, bolted, mock up the turbo feed, the turbo drain, keep everything nice and tidy. Then we can start messing with the intercooler piping and fabbing the downpipe. So right here in the back, one of the things that plagues the Mark III Toyota Supra in a lot of older cars that either sit outside or have sat outside is this old trim. Every piece of this trim on the back was just like kind of crumbling and doing some weird stuff. They do make some new trim for it, but it's kind of expensive. And I did something similar on my Mark IV Supra where we restored it. So we went ahead and chipped off all of the old stuff, scuffed this stuff down really good with like 320 grit. And I'm actually gonna teach you guys a technique here in a little bit that is gonna absolutely blow your mind, knock your socks off, do something freaky. It's gonna do something to you. Also, sorry if I look like I'm a little low energy or acting weird right now. I just came off of an 88-hour fast. I was trying to go for 7 days, which is crazy, not eating for 88 hours. I wasn't as hungry as I thought I was gonna be, but I was acting weird and I couldn't finish sentences and I couldn't do some other, and I was kind of lazy and just wanted to sit around and do some stuff. And I said, you know what, we're gonna cancel this thing. So I made it 3.5 days without eating any food, just a water fast, because I pretty much watched a YouTube video at midnight and I said, I need to do a fast. And so we did it, but I made it to 88 hours. We just ended that just a few short minutes before this video. Do you believe me? Do you believe me? Yeah, but this trim is gonna look really good, and I'm gonna be pumped up a little bit more once it's all painted. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and tap in Eric on here. He's gonna get started fresh in the morning by pulling out this engine, and then we're gonna get right to work on the rest of the car. Guys, so the engine is all pressure washed. It's just crazy how thick and grimy this thing is, how it was, and how clean it actually came. So you guys did a great freaking job on it. Turned out really good. Now the next thing is to go ahead and start removing this whole turbo setup right there. So I mean, it worked. It made power. It's definitely an older style setup, but this RTech right here is definitely going to be the move. Put that on there, and the Garrett G30-900 along with some extra goodies. So as soon as we get the manifold on there, the wastegate, all that stuff on, we'll go ahead and start messing with the turbo drain, turbo feed, the coolant lines. I want to redo something right here because I'm not too stoked on that. Also, while it's not in the car, we're going to go ahead and pull off the intake manifold again and put on the Deechworks fuel rail and do all the injector stuff while it's right here, so we're not leaning over the engine bay. All right, so this is the next day. Continued working on the JZ. Eric came in here this morning, got the D-Works fuel rail, the injectors, put the Wiring Specialties harness underneath the intake manifold, got it tied up real nice. We went ahead, polished up these front pulleys right there. Those are just kind of some billet aluminum type deals. And then this thing was on the front. So this is just a solid like billet aluminum crank pulley. And that's really not good for the harmonics of the engine of like a JZ. So we went ahead and took it off and just put an OEM one on it that I had laying around. Pulled the valve covers off because we're gonna actually paint those. They didn't really look that good. And now we're getting into the really cool stuff, which is on this side of the engine. We have the RTech manifold, which is just, how was it going, how was it putting it on?
Simple.
Like all like the OEM hardware, you don't have to do anything crazy with like, normally when you're like putting on like an aftermarket turbo manifold, you do this thing where like on the very bottom, you put 2 nuts on it. You gotta like pull it away from the head and like tighten those ones as it kind of goes down. On this one, I don't think you had to do that, right?
Yeah, it went on pretty easy.
So pretty nice. And we also have that Garrett G30-900 turbo I've been talking so much about. The turbo drain is gonna be pretty simple. We went ahead and ordered one of these. It looks like an accordion right there with a 10-and on the end. So that kind of goes right there through the turbo manifold. There's nothing to burn, nothing to catch fire. I wanna see if we have a shorter feed line, because that's just too long. Like that's probably, you know, 1.5 feet too long. And then I think on this little upper piece right here, we'll grind that down and make it a little bit prettier. But yeah, the engine's looking pretty good. It's almost kind of ready to go. We have some stuff we also need to take care of on the chassis. All right, so now in the engine bay, this is the area where the battery box or the battery was. I'm gonna see what a lot of this stuff is. I wanna clean up this wiring and make it actually presentable. And then it looks like once upon a time, a battery like leaked. It basically took the paint off of it, and then there's just some like surface rust on it. It's not like it's like rusting or like anything you could stick a screwdriver through. It's literally like patina on like an old car sort of deal. So we're gonna get that all wire wheeled, clean that up, put some like direct to metal primer on it, and then hit it with some sort of a paint. We don't want to paint the whole engine bay because again, we're not trying to make this thing like a show car. We're just trying to make it like a nice driver sort of deal. So we're not gonna go crazy with it, but we'll definitely address that. And then the other thing is down here in the fender wells, in the fender liners, I went ahead and took off the plastic because we're gonna try to figure out where we're gonna run the intercooler piping. So if you look right here, from the factory, there's this like little brace, which it doesn't really have to be there. And you can see how they had the intercooler ran previously. So it was really low to the ground. Whereas even if we just, you know, cut a little notch in this, we could pick up that intercooler pipe a couple inches and kind of squeak through this hole. Depends on how fancy we want to get with it. Because we could like relocate the battery, put it in the trunk, and then do the intercooler piping like right through here and then go right through there. And that would be really, really nice. We don't know how intensive we're gonna get to it, but we'll figure that out. Oh, yep, no, yep. Those are nice units right there. You know what those are? Red Wings, okay? Been painted. All right, we have EGR now. Oh, this is a Vibrant UJ. 1 3/4. It's nice to make a wastegate dump out of.
Where's Trevor?
just the rinse. I think that's it. Okay. So what we're doing right here is something very, we're trying to do 5 things at once. We're trying to do 5 things at once, but also only 3. So we need to do the rear window trim with the Raptor liner. I want to do under the wheel wells just to, with the Raptor liner, to make it like black so it looks good in there. Then we also need to do the engine bay where underneath the battery tray. We need to decide if we're pulling the battery tray out. We also need to paint the valve covers. The slippery slope continues. So went ahead and moved the wiring out of the way, kind of wire wheeled a lot of that stuff over there. But now we're looking at this, we're like, well, you know, you gotta move the battery tray before we do this, and then if we paint this and blend it in here, then, you know, why don't we just kind of paint a little bit more of it? And if we're gonna do that, we might as well do up here, but to do that, we gotta move some of this stuff. And then, you know, we gotta pull off the intercooler stuff because somebody made a bracket in the past and they didn't paint it, so, you know, might as well pull off the bumper. And we're just going down that road. So that's what we're doing. These bumpers have a lot of pieces on them, and I'm telling you, they have a lot of pieces. But we decided that if you just pull off like a crash beam, a lot of the stuff is actually attached. So got all that stuff figured out, got it off, and we are trying to make it to a car show with this thing. Not a car show, it's basically like a car meet. Saturday, we gotta go Saturday with it. So trying to do that. It's like 7 p.m. It's like a night meet, but we're gonna be there selling merch and doing some other stuff. But we would like to bring this car, but we want it a little bit more presentable, and here we go. So just finished spraying the base coat on the engine bay. Everything turned out really good. Again, we didn't do like a full crazy underneath everything. We're just kind of dusting it in up top, clear coating everything down. So now we need to move over to the paint booth where we're gonna do the valve cover. Engine bay has been painted. Eric, what do you think?
It's beautiful.
Was it worth it?
Oh yeah.
I wasn't quite sure at first, and then I said, man, that's gonna look so much better. But we did it. We just, you know, again, we didn't kind of go, you know, 110% crazy, like pulling everything and getting behind every nook and cranny. But the silver, it all blended in really good. We got the clear coat in there, like, it looks really nice. This top piece right here, it just looked like gray.
It was real dull. Like
it just didn't match the car. It was just, it literally looked like primer gray in there with like a hint of metallic. Essentially what a lot of like OEM companies do is they'll do like a catalyzed base coat, so it doesn't really have like that protective top coat sort of deal on it. And yeah, it turned out really, really good. Just got to let it dry for a little bit. We have the engine sitting right here, getting ready to go back in it. The next thing on the list of to-dos, as you can see, just the shop is a mess with this whole entire car, is to actually go ahead and spray the trim. So I'm gonna hit this with some adhesion promoter, and then I'm actually gonna use the U-POL, the Raptor liner, but I'm gonna reduce it a little bit, still kind of leave it a little bit thicker, and then spray a couple little coats on this stuff right here, and that should make it really nice. Now we have this front lip as well. We're gonna hit that stuff in the Raptor liner, and that'll just kind of give it a sheen, like not like a super gloss, but kind of like a semi-gloss, like OEM type finish. Then we should be able to unmask this thing and start sticking in the engine. So you're wondering what I'm spraying. It's actually just this Raptor liner. I'm which is normally just like a bed liner in just the black. 3 parts Raptor liner, 1 part hardener, and then 1 part of reducer. So reducing it down a little bit, and then we spray it out of the good. All right, boys, a little bit more of a reveal since we've been working on this thing, putting it all back together, engine bay. We started it, it runs. We went ahead and put the fuse box and some of the other stuff down there. We ran a battery cable to the back to a little junction up here in the front. And we haven't done any intercooler piping or any of that other stuff right now. We just kind of have the engine bay loosely laid out, but valve covers look really, really good. Engine bay looks really, really nice. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So we're actually getting ready to head to a car meet right now. We actually went to the same meet last year, and we sold some merch for our, it was the STI. It was the Hawkeye STI giveaway. And the kid who actually won it bought a skateboard deck at that event. He ended up winning the STI, which was pretty cool. So yeah, now this thing, it runs and drives. Now all we have to do is pull it outside, load it in the trailer, have a base map on the ECU for the bigger injectors. And then as soon as we get back from the event, you know, within the next couple of days, this next week, we're gonna do the downpipe, intercooler fabrication, and all the other stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and fire this thing up, get her loaded up. Boys, we made it up here to the car show. We got this thing unloaded, and we're over here trying to sling a little bit of merch. Eric drove his Civic. He's trying to get in some races up here, but I think we might need to build one of these things next. Look at this thing. That thing is freaking beautiful. So, and the amount of like people that have been taking photos and like pulling out there, they like walk by, they don't even know what it is, and they're like, we got to take a photo of it, right? See? But yeah, pretty cool little thing. It started at 7, and now we got kind of the Thrive official guys over here, 970 Culture, and then Peaked Co. Everybody else up here, and then they're trying to put, I think, like 3,000 cars here. Basically, everybody's gonna fill up this parking lot, the next one, the one after that, and it's just gonna be like this big, huge thing. All right, the meet is progressing. It's going a little bit later. Nice little unit parked over here next to Eric. Do you like the attention on the Civic?
A lot of attention.
Well, and then, you know, you're asking for it because you don't have a hood.
Yeah.
So, coming over here, if we stand on the truck, if you look down there, look at that. I guess like the road up there's blocked, this one down there's blocked, and definitely a lot of people up here, which is pretty cool. So I think I might need to go for a quick little walk here in a little bit and check out some of the other stuff. What do you think, Jamie?
I don't know. I'm a little shocked.
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people. It's because it's nice weather.
Yeah, it is nice. All right, boys, so that is going to be it for this video. Went to the car show and car meet. Didn't really film a whole lot. Was just talking to a lot of people, kind of showing the car and, you know, trying to sell a little bit of merch over there. So as of now, we have not ran any paid ads for this giveaway. And we are doing 20 times entries for a chance to win the Supra. So if you guys haven't got any entries or any merch for this thing, we just have 2 new Mark 4, Mark 3 design t-shirts on the website. The car looks really, really good. Really proud at how the engine bay turned out. Initially, we weren't gonna do it. As we went, we just said, you know what? It's a slippery slope. Let's just continue down the path. A couple people were like, oh, why is it, you know, where's the intercooler piping? And we're like, well, it's not done yet. So that's what we're gonna be doing this week. You know, cold side, hot side, full downpipe. We'll get this thing back on the dyno with the bigger injectors and the bigger turbo. And so much power it makes. So should make 450 pretty easy. Should make a ton of cool noises. Really stoked on how this rear trim and everything turned out too. Looks really good. Overall, car looks really nice. So let me know what you guys think about it. If you guys are stoked, head over to MotionAutoTv.com, grab some entries for a chance to win this thing. Giveaway ends at the end of April. And again, we have a ton of other stuff that we're gonna continue to do throughout the course of April. So I think we have a little over 2 weeks left till the end of the giveaway. Pretty stoked on it. I think a lot of people at the event were pretty stoked at it too. They were like, you know, it was the only Mark 3 Supra there, and I feel like you just don't see these things cruising around. We will get a different steering wheel on there. We had an issue with the hub, but seats and everything cleaned up really good. We did a little fabric dye paint on him. But yeah, that's it guys. Appreciate you guys watching this video. Let me know what you guys think of the progress so far. See you later.